Hey there, this is Adam Jones from Shimano. Hope you guys are well. I'm out on what is another absolutely gorgeous Swedish lake. These places are, I think if you live in this part of the world, you probably get used to it, but for me, every single one is like the most beautiful lake you've ever seen. Now, this one specifically is very, very clear. Apparently, when we get out, it's a lake that was created when a meteor hit, and apparently it's the nutrients in the water that create a very, very blue, crystal clear Caribbean style lake. So at the moment, it feels like I've been lied to because it's a bit brown and silty here. But I think as we get slightly further into the lake and we get away from the silt, we should start to see some clarity in the water. And it looks like it's going to be a brilliant day's fishing. Now, on the way out, I'm just doing some scanning on these GPS maps from Garmin, just looking at a bit of structure as we go from the ramp to where we're eventually going to go fishing. And I just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about predator structure, things you should be looking for both above and below the water to hopefully make your predator fishing a little bit easier and to obviously help you plan your day, specifically on a new water like this one is for me. So first thing I'd say about structure is you've got to make a good plan, but like all things in predator fishing, you've got to use your eyes, you've got to look at birds on the surface, you've got to look into the water. I mean, we've just left the ramp now and we've just seen a shoal of perch hanging around a set of lily pads that is just biblical. There's hundreds and hundreds of perch, some really, really big ones. Now, we're heading out because we want to make some films, but ultimately, that's where the perch are. If I was coming out for a day's fishing, I would stop and obviously fish for those perch. Structure is really important to understand, but fish don't sit and stand on the piece of structure you think they're going to stand on every single time. So those lily pads today look like they're going to be the option. We'll probably go and fish some shallow diving twitch baits and try and suspend it between the weed and the lily pads and see if we can pick out some of those bigger perch. But as we're going out at the moment, the clarity in the water is starting to get better. I'm looking for certain things. So I'm looking for depth and I'm looking for structure. Specifically in places like this, it's rocks, it's trees that are on the bottom. I'm just keeping an eye out. I think there's a rock coming up ahead. When you're looking for structure, there's two ways to do it. Firstly, obviously with your eyes. So as we're moving across the lake, we can see points and pinnacles. Usually on those points, we're going to have shallower water either side going into a bit of a drop off. You've obviously got your charts as well, so you can back up that information. Now, things you can see on the surface, that rock straight ahead has probably got more rocks around it. This pinnacle to the right of me here, we've got some reeds coming off of a point. Again, I can see that tapers away without even having to look at my maps. I can see that I've got a change in depth as that comes off of the pinnacle. So when it comes to structure, you're looking for changes in the bottom structure. It doesn't have to be big rocks, it doesn't have to be trees, but anything that changes the normal bed of the lake is going to hold fish. So that could be trees, it could be rocks, it could just be a change in depth. So it could just be a pinnacle in the middle of nowhere. Fish are drawn to those pieces of structure. Now that's true for all fish. So any coarse fishing that I do at home, things like tench, they are drawn to those raised gravel bars in exactly the same way as perch and pike. And the reason is because the other fish are also drawn to those pieces of structure. So it's easy to say look for bait fish and you'll find predators, but essentially if you look for the right structure, you will find bait fish, and with that, you will find predators. So I've touched on it already, but you're looking for brush piles, you're looking for rocks, you're looking for points, you're looking for drop-offs. Anything that is different within the water body is where you're going to find those fish. Now, when it comes to then fishing those pieces of structure, you need to try and match the right baits for the right fish that you're looking for. And ultimately, that's a little bit of trial and error. But if you're fishing really shallow water, you might want to start looking at, say, twitch baits. For example, the trigger twitch or the world minnow. As you start coming off the drop-offs, so yesterday I had really good success on the drop-offs fishing for perch with the world diver. Now I was fishing into maybe a meter of water at the top of the drop-off, so I was bouncing the bill of that diver on the meter, getting it to go over the top of the drop-off, and those perch were sitting just down off the side of the drop-off. So that world diver was really burrowing down the slope, and that's when I was getting the hits. And so if you're fishing rocks, such as this rock pile we've got to the right-hand side here, I find it's really good to start looking at some finesse methods as well. So obviously you can fish your suspending baits across rocks, and as a crankbait area, it's also perfect as well, just getting the bill of that crankbait working amongst the rocks. But finesse tactics, small shads, Ned rigs, that sort of stuff also work really well across that structure. Now, obviously, then when you come away from the shore structure, you're then looking at deep holes and pelagic fishing, and that is a totally different ball game, and you're going to be potentially using your live scope. You're definitely going to be using all of your sonars to work out depths and see where the fish are within the thermocline, and then you're going to want to present baits to that area of the thermocline. So, you know, there really is a million things to discuss when it comes to structure, but my piece of advice would be check your charts, look at your Google Maps, look at obvious things that you can see with your eyes. You can find that on Google Maps. Then start digging into your charts. Then when you're on the water, use your eyes both into the water and what you can see on the surface, and start varying your options across that structure. So hopefully that makes some sense. Hopefully there's a few things within my ramblings that have you know, ticked a few boxes in your head, and maybe start getting things going and thinking about things in a slightly different way. We are going to put that into practice and find the structure and hopefully find the fish today. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the video. Thanks very much for watching. As always, like and subscribe. There's going to be plenty of videos coming to the channel, and we will speak to you guys very, very soon. Cheers.